and welcome to Microsoft Digital Now. I'm Andrew Wilson, Microsoft's Chief Digital Officer. Today, technology is at the heart of every business. Its mission criticality, its speed is something we're all having to deal with. On this series of conversations, I'm looking forward to speaking with friends, industry leaders, both within Microsoft and across the industry, about how they're tackling digital and wider business transformation. So let's get to it. Joining me now is my very good friend at Microsoft, Nathalie. Nathalie, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Andrew. It's a pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me.
Great to see you as always. Nathalie, now you run Microsoft's own employee experience organization, and you do that with Microsoft Tech. So talk us through that. Surely it's a walk in the park.
Yeah, super easy. As you can imagine, it's actually a little complex, but it's also quite fun and rewarding. We play the role of customer zero at Microsoft. And what that means is that we work with product engineering teams to envision the employee experience we want to deliver to our own employees, but also to our customers. And that means that we deploy things very early at scale. And we play the role of really collecting all of our employee feedback and feeding that back to product engineering teams to make sure that our products are deliver a great experience for our employees and for our customers as well. Because we go very fast, we also don't want to disrupt the user experience internally. So we've developed a pretty rigorous process to deploy. So we do it in what we call rings. So we start with a smaller ring, we test things out, we validate the product, then we go to bigger rings. But it's actually a lot of fun. And the reason it's complex is because we want to make sure that we have a lot of different permutations of our products internally, because every customer environment is different. And we want to make sure that it works for all of our customers. So there's a lot of complexity, but it's also a very rewarding experience because we're engaged super early. We find issues, we resolve those issues. We get to enhance the employee experience. So it's a lot of fun. It's a great space to be in.
It's good because it's giving every Microsoft employee an opportunity to feed back into product
Absolutely.
as well. So
yes.
Really getting everybody in the organization focused on it.
And as you can imagine, we have some very passionate employees, right, around what the experience should be and giving us a lot of feedback around the things that we can tweak and enhance to make their experience better.
And of course, you lead the organization that is deploying this, as many of our customers do.
Yes.
And so all of the deployment protocols and the governance and the compliance, you're helping build as well.
Yes.
Making it really customer ready.
Yes.
Now, that employee base, like the rest of the world, has been through the pandemic. I know you've led productivity, collaboration, and experience infrastructure throughout that time. How was that in Microsoft, and what patterns did you see, and ultimately, how successful was it?
Yeah, it's interesting, Andrew. One of the questions I often get is, how ready were you for the pandemic? Because literally, from one day to the other, we sent everybody home, and we said, don't come back tomorrow, you're working from home. And we were lucky in that it's something that we had been working on for many years, because we wanted to make sure that our workforce was fully mobile. We already had a lot of employees who didn't come into a Microsoft office every day. And so we wanted to make sure that our systems, our infrastructure could support a very mobile and remote workforce as well. So when the pandemic hit, our infrastructure was such that we could support everyone working remotely. We had moved all of our workloads to the cloud with a zero trust model as well. So we were ready, which was great. Now, the things that we saw, not surprisingly, is Teams usage went through the roof. A lot of online meetings, and we learned a lot from that. Actually, one of the things that was really surprising to me was the satisfaction with meetings internally went way up. We measure our satisfaction with what we call net satisfaction, and net satisfaction just rose by plus 30 points.
What do you think drove that?
I think it was a higher level of inclusion. Up until then, we had somewhat of a hybrid model, and I wouldn't even call it hybrid, but a lot of people were in a conference room and some people were remote. And back in the day, it was a little sticky. People in the room had a meeting, but if you were online, you tended to be kind of, on the outside. But with everyone being remote and dialing into a meeting, it put everybody on the same kind of equal playing field. And we really leveraged all the great features in Teams, like raising your hand if you want to jump in, like the chat window. It's almost like you were having two meetings in one, where there were a lot of discussions in the chat window. So if you didn't feel comfortable speaking up, you could use the chat window to express, ask questions or share your thoughts. So it led to a higher level of inclusion as we moved post the last, I wouldn't say post-pandemic because the pandemic is still with us, but as we move to the next phase, we're trying to figure out how we keep that. Even as some people make their way back into the office, we want to make sure that we maintain that level of inclusion, leveraging the best our products have to offer. The other thing that's been interesting is this rise in asynchronous collaboration, in that, you can record a meeting. Not everybody has to be in a meeting. So if I miss a meeting, I can just listen to the recording. I can also leverage the transcript of a meeting to search on keywords, so I can go straight to the area that I'm specifically interested in. So I don't have to be in every meeting. And we see that feature being used a lot more than there was in the past.
Of course, all of this is driving up that personal productivity.
Yes.
And we had a great focus on productivity, didn't we, in that first year? But it's definitely now moved into the experience index. And we speak a lot about experience. And Microsoft launched Viva, and I know you're the first to deploy Viva. How's that going?
It's going really well. One of the things I'm super excited about is, as you pointed out, my team has been really focused on the employee experience, and we strive to be the stewards and the advocates of the employee experience internally. And so Viva is great. Viva provides, it's an employee experience suite, a platform that enables our employees to be more productive, to be more engaged, we are seeing satisfaction rise as a result of some of the things that people are experiencing with Viva. Viva comes in a set of different modules, and there's, depending on, the modules provide functionality that people didn't have in the past. For example, there's part of Viva allows you to focus on your well-being and to develop and enhance your work habits. One of my favorite features is that you can block time on your calendar automatically. We call it focus time. So I have time to really, take time to think, for example. Otherwise, the calendars get filled with meetings at times. And then it also allows people to learn in the flow of work, to develop their careers. It also allows organizations to focus on objectives and key results. We recently announced Viva Goals, that's coming, that allows you to enhance your business performance, as an example. And it also allows people to stay more connected. So I have a platform that I can go to. I can connect with my peers. I know exactly what our mission is. I can see how my work directly contributes to the mission of the organization. So we have found that it's a really great platform to continue to enhance productivity, satisfaction, connecting employees together.
Listening to you, Nathalie, it really strikes me that the role of we technologists in the enterprise has really evolved out of all of this.
Yes.
I mean, the things you're covering there go way beyond that original service level productivity brief we had, touching on culture, touching on the nature of work, touching on that overall experience.
Yes.
It's a really exciting time. And your organization is a great example of this new form of IT where you've organized completely around an outcome. And that's a bit of an experiment as well. So for we technologists in the room, how's that going? And what do you see as the pattern for the future in terms of the nature and shape of the IT organization?
Yeah, it's interesting. If I look back at the history of the organization that I'm leading, we've been through a significant transformation. Back in the day, you would have, called us a traditional IT organization. We now call ourselves the Microsoft Digital Employee Experience Team. We have really recentered everything we do around the employee experience. We have changed the way we work. We have changed our processes. We have changed the way we interact with our stakeholders. Everything we do really centers around the employee experience, to your point. That is the one outcome we strive for, meaning enhancing that employee experience over time and really being vision-led around where we want to go. Not being in the role of just deploying something, but really defining, the vision for the employee experience, and then working with a number of stakeholders across the company to bring that vision to life. And it does require a very different mindset. In some ways, you could say that it takes more time to do things because you have to strive for alignment across multiple stakeholders. But at the same time, the outcomes are much stronger. And I'm really excited about the path and the journey that we've been on.
And those disciplines, because you've got the network, you've got the support center, both desk side and global. You've got design studio.
Yep.
You've
Technology
got the tenant itself. You've got the administration of the security post.
Yes.
All of those things that touch experience would not have been under one leader before.
That's right.
So really end to end. And do you think this is a pattern that other organizations can follow?
I believe,
and are you seeing that?
I believe so, yes. I think back in the day, these things would have been treated as discrete books of work that needed to be delivered with a high level of quality and reliability. Today, we think of all these things coming together as one to deliver on great end-to-end experiences. And so I do think that is the model of the future if you want to continue to enhance that employee experience.
And we need this upgraded capability, I think, because if you reflect back on Viva and if you reflect back on experience, these are not necessarily natural things that everyone will just know how to adopt, either as an organization or as a manager or as an individual. So the change agent characteristics of this must be coming through as well.
Absolutely. One of the things that we really strive to do is making sure that in anything we do, there is a corresponding change management effort that comes with it. Really understanding what are we trying to achieve, how are we going to do it, what is the communication that we need to do, how do we help users through the process, and then taking all that feedback and then feeding it back again into the engineering team to enhance the process over time.
Brilliant, brilliant. We could talk all day. Let's just find out a little bit more about famous Nathalie in your role. But before all of this, way back in the day, what was your dream job before you started all of this?
I actually wanted to be a midwife.
That's interesting.
Yes.
Having known you for
maybe
3
in my
years,
second career, who knows?
And during the pandemic, any hobbies or interests that either developed or were brand new?
Yes, I would never have thought of this before, but I spent a lot of time on Instagram and I followed all these DIYers. And so I am now into DIY. I refinish old furniture. I do refinish my fireplace. Yes, I'm all into DIY.
Well,
Power tools.
As we worked together remotely, I did pick up on that practical building element. And I myself have been building as well as a hobby and an interest. But I also know, obviously, that you're very French. I have respect for that.
Yes.
And I couldn't help but notice your love of chocolate. So on behalf of everyone on the show, we wanted to give you a little gift to say thank you for joining us today.
Aww.
And it's perhaps not surprising.
Oh, my goodness.
Here we go. It's in two parts. Here is a particular European city for you to build.
Thank you. You know, I did Legos too during the pandemic with my daughter.
I did. Oh, I remember that. And
thank you.
Here is some chocolat as well.
Thank you so much. Well, you know, I will be enjoying these greatly. Thank you so much. It's one of my favorite places.
It's a pleasure. I know everyone in Microsoft's grateful for the support you give us. Thanks to everyone on the team. Thank you for joining us today.
Very grateful to being here. Thank you so much.